Last time you were on, you hadn't yet announced your candidacy for Congress in Texas. How is that going? I might move there just to vote for you.
Shockingly well, I might accidentally have a job. So it's been interesting. So we were already obviously in the preparation stages for a long time before this. So I was tempted to tease something on the last PKA, but I couldn't say anything.
Yeah,
I would have gotten yelled at, but no, it's actually been incredible. So it's kind of, I got to that point where, with YouTube and everything, I got to the point where I considered, hey, I basically, in my eyes, have won the game of life. Like, I don't have to really do anything I don't want to do anymore. And I just keep doing this because, it's a good business thing. And it's, and I genuinely enjoy doing it, But now I'm like, okay, now I can do some side quests of things that I actually think are important. And so I'm kind of in side quest mode. So I won my boxing match, and then now I'm doing this other thing. Which
so wait, what office are you running for exactly?
So U.S. Federal Congress District 23.
So this is real deal. This is U.S. Federal Congress.
Yeah. So my current opponent is Tony Gonzalez, who just kind of a really, really, well, I could say it here on the show. Nobody's going to get mad. Limp dick Republican.
What a bitch! I hate that guy. This is the first I've heard of him.
That guy's ugly.
He's ugly, and he also he looks like a lesbian gym coach. But he
doesn't really in Texas.
Yeah, I've heard he fucks women, so he's guilty.
Allegedly. But he voted for gun control, which is an immediate way to piss me off. But he just has a bunch of other bad votes.
Wait, there's a Republican in Texas running under gun. What gun control did he vote for? Yeah,
it was the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act. He basically did a bunch of like red flag laws and stuff like that after Uvalde. Yeah. He was like one of 10 or 15 Republicans who voted for it. So bipartisan, but
yeah. So we see how well those work.
Yeah, get the hell out. Get that guy out of here.
We just had a perfect case study of the red flag law at work, right?
Which one?
The main one.
What do you mean? The one with the manhunt last week?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So that guy,
tries to check himself in.
To be fair, which one indeed?
I don't know, they blend together.
The one in Maine, I guess there were a lot of red flags.
You really got to do something to stand out these days in the shooting game.
Yeah.
What's the most? What are the memorable ones? What are the
Vegas? Vegas is number one by far.
So memorable because
they never revisited it. It's just like, man, that's crazy. That guy carried 30,000 pounds of guns and then fired them with all 10 hands. What is, because you're so close to it, what is the gun take that gets your goat more than anything else? That when you see, you're like, these non-anti-gun people.
There's a couple. There's a lot of misinformation out there, but the big one is it seems, and it's some of the easiest stuff to correct too. It seems like a lot of the people that are spouting anti-gun stuff on the internet say like there's no reason for a civilian to be able to go into a gun store and buy a fully automatic weapon. I'm like, well, that's crazy because you can't. That's not a lot. Like, do
you need that on Accidental Ally?
What's up?
Accidental Ally.
Yeah.
Subreddit.
It's like the hoops you got to jump through, and like Kyle knows, like the shit you have to do to have access to this is insane. If you don't have your FFL, it's still like a lot of paperwork, and it's very expensive, like prohibitively expensive, like a year's salary for most people.
I'm glad you're here because I wanted to ask you about this. This is the coolest. I don't look at guns really that much anymore, but the coolest gun thing I've seen in a long time was a friend of the show. He bought a Mac. And then he bought a conversion kit so he can put an AR upper on his full auto transferable Mac.
Yeah.
And now he's got a real machine gun for like Macs used to be $4,500 when I was looking at them. They're a lot more now. I think he paid 10 or something, but still, it's like a $10,000 machine gun, like a real one, a fun one, and it looks like shit.
they look so awkward, but that's the cool part because that's the workaround. Because the lower of it I'm assuming on the Mac 10s, whatever, the lowers are considered the firearm or the machine gun. So the upper that you put on it's irrelevant. It's just like changing the barrel or the muzzle brake. It's not the regulated part. So you just put on whatever. I think I know who you're talking about. The company that sells those. They're kind of neat. I mean, I get the premise. You want to be able to shoot 5.56 with AR mags. Like, here you go.
Yeah. Taylor asked the most frustrating aspect of gun debate. Mine is this. When someone says, why do you need that? Right? Like if it's a gun thing, then suddenly I have to justify it. No one ever asks me why I need 8 motorcycles. They never ask me why I need hockey equipment, or I don't even know how many sticks I have. No one asks me why I need anything else in my life. But suddenly for guns, even though it's a right to have it, they need me to like describe a scenario where it will come in useful. No, I don't play that game at all. Why do I need it? I don't. Or I'll say zombie apocalypse. I like that one too.
Yeah, I know it's kind of a bumper sticker thing, but it's like they don't call it the bill of needs. Like I don't need to justify like why the hell I've got it. And plus, I already kind of have it. So what's your plan for making sure I don't anymore?
Yeah. It's going to be tough. Look at your background. there's a lot of ways to shut that down.
This shit's my net worth, man. Like I don't know what you want from me.
Oh wait, there's an RPG on there. Is that rubber?
Yeah. That's what brought up the army story.
So that's it. That one's not rubber, but it's like a Chinese dummy. It's got all the explosives scraped out, everything like that.
Okay.
Another thing I think is funny with the army, or not the army, the gun thing I'll see sometimes is people being like, why do you even want an AR-15? Don't you know the government will just murder you where you stand with a drone? It's like, no. Like how many times has that been gone through when people understand like insurgencies and like fighting an armed populace? Like, remember how we dominated Afghanistan so hard? Oh wait, it's like Eric Swalwell, the senator. Soldiers on every corner. Like you can't control stuff with just drones and shit, just murdering people. Like
drone operators have families, so it's
Hey. There's a lot of people don't want to harm their fellow citizens and wouldn't do that. I would hope.
It's just like Eric Swalwell, like the senator, I believe, or congressman, who was saying like, you've never beat the U.S. government. Like we have nukes. I'm like, the fact that a representative of the U.S. government has just threatened to nuke its own people are kind of why we want guns. It's kind of a good idea.
They nuke Montana to show they're serious.
We win! It's a mushroom cloud and the fallout rains.
Fuck, it's blowing this way.
Which way? We're in the middle of the country. It was gonna blow one way or the other.
Now we know the direction of all the winds because of those Canadian fires. Those irresponsible Canucks up there, they're not watering their plants. They're not cleaning up all the sticks the way
North America
botanist Trump recommended. They don't have the stick sweeping teams that he said would take care of this. So.
We need Trump and his Sharpie to redefine where the smoke is. If he could help
too
us
much
out.
Fire. I don't want to step over it, but there's too much fire. Like it's just like saying something everyone agrees with. Yeah, that was hilarious. One of his best ideas was sweeping forest floors to prevent forest fires. And then I actually got owned a little bit because I read like some forest fire guy who's like, the way he said it was stupid, but he's kind of right. And I'm like, really? Damn, that sounds so dumb. Speaking of memes and politics adjacent, are you staying involved? You think you're going to go another round?
To some degree. I think so. I aged like 3 years in 9 months. Politics is fucking rough, dude.
Yeah.
There's nothing like getting $10 million spent to slander you.
Yeah.
Like I grew up on the internet. Like I've been on YouTube and whatnot for years and years now. I'm used to it. I got thick skin. Like it really doesn't bother me that much, but there's something about going to your local Texas Roadhouse and sitting at the bar and seeing 19 ads play back to back about why you're the devil. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh wow, this is gnarly. And people start giving you weird looks like, hey, you look like the guy on TV that said he wants veterans to kill himself and kicks puppies. It's like, no, really. It's almost like that was paid for by people who don't want me to get elected. But no, we came really close, man. We were, as a fucking YouTuber who's never done this before, we took one of the best funded Republican incumbents in the state of Texas, and we got outspent $10 million to 1 and lost by 407 votes.
Damn.
It was wild. It was about 1%.
So if it was just an organic campaign battle, you would have won for sure.
Yeah, basically. And what this kind of gets me in a little trouble, if AIPAC didn't get involved in the last minute, we probably would have won. AIPAC got involved and spent in the last, I think, couple weeks, I think they spent like $1.5 million against me.
They do like to do that. Yeah. Promote their candidates.
When I saw your video about, basically you made a video, you said I lost. This is, some of the things, and I'm pretty proud of how close I came. Part of me was wondering if you were a little relieved. Like, you've got a pretty good gig right now. Did you really want that other one?
The way I compared it, and this is a very witty comparison, so I think you'll like this. The way I compared it was, it was like exercise and ice cream, where it's like, all right, if I win, I will not enjoy it. I'm gonna be doing 2 years of something I think is important, but I don't want to do. Like, I've got a sweet gig now. I make pretty good money. I do what I want. I get to run businesses with my friends and do some cool stuff. But I think it's better for the country, and I think I get to get involved in some things that I really care about. And I think it's it's stuff that you don't enjoy in the moment, but it has a lasting impact for the better. But if I lose, it's like ice cream, where it's like, okay, I didn't do the thing that I know is better for me in the long run and better for the country and all that, but I get to go back to this. I get to go to do whatever I want, to basically just. And so, like, I left it up to the voters. I gave it everything that we had, and I'm really happy with my team and whatnot. But yes, the long answer to a short question, I'm incredibly relieved.
Dude, you nailed it. I did love that analogy. I know exactly what you're trying to say.
Good. I figured you might. But that was it was a wild experience, and not one I think I want to do again, at least anytime soon.
Okay. Well, this is a good run then for, maybe 15 years from now.
Type 2 fun.
Yeah, exactly. Go again. That would be cool.
Yeah. I learned a lot. I made a lot of good connections, and I learned so much about how politics works. It's not even funny. It's a little scary. But yeah, it was incredible. My opponent did a terrible job of digging into my past and the internet and shit I said online. Because my God, if they had pulled up any of the clips from PKA, I'd be fucked. They never did. They
I was thinking about that while you were running, and I was like, I hope nothing comes up that damages my friend Brandon. But
that's kind of what I just thought the whole time. Like, you know what? Hey, whatever comes up. I'm an internet comedian for half of my job. Like, do you really do you hold it against Dave Chappelle or Shane Gillis when they say stuff like that? Like, if you're in the guys of comedy, like, I think anything goes.
Yeah,
well, they did though, right? They canceled Gillis's career there for a while.
They did for a while. Yeah,
he got fired from SNL.
I know about. Yeah, that was. But that's SNL. It's when you go out on your own, and you're Shane Gillis, and you're that much funnier than SNL. I think you'll be fine.
It was for the best.
Schwarzenegger successfully argued that, like, hey, I didn't live my whole life preparing to be a politician, because they had videos of him, talking about how he liked it, how Lifton was like coming, and he's smoking pot, and there's a whole host of things in Schwarzenegger's past that
he was accosting those women at Carnival.
Yeah. But he just said,
"Hey, a good video.
I wasn't always preparing to be in politics like some of these other guys, but this is the me you get now." And
I brought that up a lot too, where it's like, hey, that just proves that I'm serious about the fact that I never wanted to be a politician. If I did, I would have led a lot cleaner life. But it's just stuff that I thought was important. So I'm like, you know what? Hey, I'll throw my hat in the ring.
I would rather have a politician have some like normal person dirt in their past, like a 14-year-old who aspires to be a politician and lives and makes every decision based on that eventuality. That's weird.
Those are the worst kind of people. Those are the worst kind of politicians in my mind. Are the ones that have just been grooming themselves to fit whatever mold they think they need to win an office.
Yeah, so they can go out there and make fucking Hillary Clinton hot sauce comments at black people or whatever fucking nonsense they want to do, and they're water into whatever the shape of whatever vessel they currently occupy. It's a creepy kind of person.
They've got no virtues. They just ebb and flow to the shape of their container.
Yeah, it's like there's not an ounce of sincerity in this person. Whereas if it's but then there's also too much. Who is that lady who's like, we all shoot dogs?
Motherfuckers bark too much. You know what I mean?
That's too much sincerity. But you know what? If it came out and they were like, she's actually doing meth, and she was like, no, I'm not, I'd immediately believe her, because I'm like, a woman who bragged borderline about shooting a dog would also probably be like, yeah, I do meth. What of it? Like that. They wouldn't have their guard up for that.
It was Christy Nome.
That's such a funny thing to write in your book.
She shot a goat too. She said it smelled like a goat. Killed it.
Yeah, if I were her opponent politically, I wouldn't let anyone know she ever shot a goat. I would want to make it seem as though only one animal had ever crossed that threshold,
only
and it was
dog.
A friendly dog.
Only dogs.
Don't get dog was past his prime. He was 2.5.
That's the first time she ever picked up a firearm, and it was to kill a dog and throw its body in a gravel pit
Quote, I had always wanted to do it.
I'd always wanted to. I dreamed about it. I started small when I was younger.
Dude, I had a revealing thought this week. So I'm in the game and I'm murdering turtles in Elden Ring, and I genuinely felt bad about it. The turtles don't even hit back after you strike them. They just die with a painful scream. Ooh. And I'm like, it feels rough. And my wife said, you've done that in real life to a chicken. I was like, man, I felt worse about the video game turtles than I did Henrietta, who had to go.
Yeah, didn't have to go at all.
Didn't have to.
I was hungry.
It was like the governor called. It was like they charge up the electric chair and all the conduits are glowing, and the governor calls and he's like, actually, let him live. And the warden goes, wrong number.
Yeah,
that's Woody. That's Woody.
You were fucking Percy putting a dry sponge up under that electric cap, seeing what would happen. Man, I hated Percy so much.
I did get in trouble at one point during a political speech for fat shaming.
The most benign thing to be in trouble
it was in a big, like, we were doing a big rally. There's probably about 300 people there, and I couldn't help but be me a little bit, which I was strongly advised to not do. Mm-hmm. And so we were talking about fentanyl, actually, and talking about how much was crossing the southern border. And there was a statistic that I'd heard that enough fentanyl has crossed the southern border last year to kill by weight to kill the entire population of not only the United States but the world. Or approximately 28 Austin feminists.
Yeah.
The news did not find that very funny.
Yeah, but it was probably written by some fat bitch.
I actually had a couple people on the campaign trail come up to me like, did you say this? Like, yeah, absolutely. And do you have anything to say? I still think it's funny.
Yeah. If you don't like it,
deal with that.
Challenge me to a foot race over it.
Okay.
How about that?
Pull-up competition.
Becky Cheesecake writing hate articles about you. That sucks. That would be so weird to be running for office and then have a giant influx of cash go to your opponent from like AIPAC or like some real deal fucking political organization that's powerful, and then immediately overnight be like, oh, there's 50 attack ads every hour against me. Suddenly people are looking. I wouldn't like that. I'm such a bitch. I feel like I'd be out in public. I'd be like, I'm not that guy. Like, I'm a different guy. I love big fat pigs like you, ma'am. Like,
no, it was definitely a weird experience. There was a couple. I got in trouble for an MP40 video I did. The way that the news he shoots a Nazi submachine gun. Like, I'm like, yeah, I do like a lot of historic weapon breakdowns or whatever. Wow. Like, did you call it the original ghetto blaster? I'm like, well, yeah, I did, but like, I thought it was funny.
Oh, they were like, okay, that's pretty good.
They were saying that, like it's a resurfaced video. I'm like, it's not resurfaced. It's been on my channel for 2 fucking years. You just now found it.
Yeah, it's a cool gun.
2 million views.
Shoot. That was my favorite gun I shot at the event. Was the MP40.
Oh yeah, dude! It is such a controllable machine gun. I fucking love it. Like,
and it's light as can be. I feel like you could run around all day with one of those strapped to you. Then after like 2 seconds with the Tommy gun, I'd be like, all right, aesthetically, I look tight, but I'm tired. Like, this thing is so heavy. You could have 7 MP40s strapped to you, and it's less than that one Woodstock.
What round do these guns shoot?
The MP40 is 9mm, and the Thompson's 45.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The MP40 you could like one hand. It is so light.
Mm-hmm. I bet if the Tommy gun probably wouldn't have been so heavy if it wasn't like all wood everywhere. I think
that the ergonomics are not very good, like the stock placement and whatnot. They're just a great looking gun, but if you ever shoulder it, what's the old joke? It's like, yeah, it was made by somebody who has never met a human being but would love to someday.
Yeah. Yeah, those were cool. I liked both of those. But if I were defending my home, I'd want the MP40 so I could roll behind my couch and be agile and stuff.
Speaking of guns that look cool but are kind of overrated, Kyle, you remember this bad boy?
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Is that the one you chopped the tree down with?
Shit. Fuck no! That is the biggest piece of shit.
What is it?
Is it USAS 12 or something or something weird like that?
Yep, it's the USAS. It's the UTAS or it's the UTS 15.
That's it. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it is such a piece of shit. I actually was telling people to be careful while we were filming with it, because we were doing a Helldivers 2, like, because it's basically the shotgun from Helldivers 2. And we were telling them to be careful because I was showing them your video. You had like 3 break on you.
3 or 4 maybe. Like they sent me 4 or 5, and they just kept breaking and falling apart. I can remember there were ball bearings. Like I was shucking it and like trying to clear it, and there's like ball bearings and springs popping and jumping around inside the weapon. And we didn't beat these up. These were new in the box. Shot some oil on them and went and started to film. And each segment of my video, it's like, all right, we're gonna shoot a toilet now. Let's see what lasts longer, the toilet or this piece of shit. And like, I think the gun might have broken. They kept those are the shittiest things anybody's ever sent me. That's the shittiest gun I've ever actually.
What'd you do in the video with it, Kyle? That wasn't the one you shot a tree down. You chopped the tree down with a shotgun.
Yeah, that was like a magazine-fed Turkish, like
the Mark 19,
yeah,
something like that.
Mark 19 or Mark 7, something like that. 1919 or maybe it had a stupid name like that, but it was that was like just a mag-fed shotgun.
Oh, I have them mixed up then.
Yeah, that thing beat the shit out of me too. But no, those things are garbage. Why do you have that?
Literally just for the video, and because I didn't have one. Other than that, like I knew in my head while I was buying it, I'm like, oh, this will be great because Helldivers is like the new thing, whatever. So we did a video with that. But I in the back of my head, all I could think of was your video, and I had to rewatch it. And I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure these are fucking trash, right? And yeah,
time when like Kel-Tec had the KSG or whatever, and then some other companies were coming up with shotguns that held a shitload of bullets, basically in multiple tubes, or maybe they'll even stick 2 barrels on there. They were trying to do funky stuff like that, and that was the cheapest, shittiest iteration of that idea of all time. It's so
also
bad.
Turkish as it comes out. So yeah,
Brandon,
Turkish guns are very affordable and cheap. I could never keep my dad when he goes to a gun show from like coming back with a handful of Turkish semi-automatic shotguns. He's like, they were 3 for $500. What could I do?
You're very affordable. Colors.
You saw Shane Gillis' sister trying to get her pistol back in her holster. I'm telling you.
Dude, Shane Gillis' sister, I saw some still of Vance, Trump's VP.
When he was on the airfield.
And I saw, I don't know, but it looks like that bitch is back in the lineup. How do you not lose your job after that? How she?
What? She couldn't holster up nice and clean? That bothered you? That's a fireable offense.
If you're in that situation,
put her life on the line.
No,
what
she didn't.
Bigot.
She was standing right by the Tahoe.
I think it was my favorite part was that she tried to reholster, couldn't, and then brought it back out.
Yeah.
Nobody saw that.
Did anybody notice? Okay, I'm probably fine. This probably won't be a global.
I bet nobody's looking.
Nobody's looking.
It's worse than that. There's a second video. All right, so when they left there, they all got in the same convoy and took Trump to the local medical center, wherever that was. She gets out and gets her gun out there and has the same shit happen. Like there's a whole other video of her in front of, at the emergency room, how you pull under that awning and there's like a brick little everything. Yeah. They're there. I'm sure they just took Trump into the emergency room. I wish there was footage of that. That's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see the ER receive Donald Trump. That would have been fun. And I got to say, why did he heal like the Terminator?
Because it's an ear.
What happened? Because look, I think he got shot. I think a bullet hit his ear. I don't think that there was any. Woody and I were when this is right after it happened. We were like, maybe there's a theory out there that glass from the teleprompter, and if you don't know, modern teleprompters are just a sheet of glass that the words are lasered upon. Yeah, and we thought, oh, maybe the bullet hits that. Glass sprays his face a little bit. Maybe that was it. Maybe it wasn't a direct impact. But then you see the Times photo where you see the vapor trail of the bullet going past his head. That's pretty undeniable. I don't know if that's the bullet that struck his ear or just a different bullet that went by his head. But, the way he bled, you could see his ear was mangled a little bit. But then, like,
FBI director said that it was a ricochet, not that it was a fragment. Which
to me makes zero sense.
Okay, I'm listening. It got really political. A lot of people felt that was kind of stealing valor in some way from a gunshot victim.
So, I don't understand what it would be ricocheting off of, considering he was on an elevated platform. You'd have to miss by like 30 degrees and then bounce perfectly toward the target. You might have been like, that's a very odd thing, considering he was the thing that was foremost.
The thing that it hit first would be discovered, right? Like, I assume they looked at this crime scene very carefully. I mean, former president got shot, presidential candidate got shot. If there's a bullet hole in a handrail somewhere, they'd see that, right?
Yeah, they'd find that.
Yeah.
The only way you could even declare that you thought it was something like that is if you pulled like a shattered jacket chunk out of his ear or out of his collar. Then you'd be like, oh, look at this spalling. Look at this chunk of like destroyed bullet that flicked at him. But no, nothing like that happened because the trajectory's all wrong, like he said. And like, it isn't a cartoon. Bullets bounce, but it didn't go past Trump, hit a piece of metal, they come back at Trump, and like, honest. Yeah. And if that happened, that's even cooler.
and to be real, like if it was
a real nick because he was fine.
I would guess that it hit like that, like that fleshy part on the outside of the cartilage out here.
Yeah,
because anything ear is going to cause a lot of blood. Just like if you might not think it, but if like somebody wraps you on the top of the head with something, there's a ton of blood vessels in your scalp. Like you're going to bleed like crazy. And all up here, there's nothing. So like,
or the lumps you get on your head. Ever get a hematoma? Like you can get a golf ball size lump on your head from a good knot.
Yeah. And so like, I think that it just caught that fleshy part, didn't tear off any cartilage. Cause if it tore off cartilage, I feel like that would take longer to heal unless he's just got some wild doctors. Yeah. And so it makes sense. He just got hit in like,
so barely. It barely fucking touched his ass. I'm sure he's like, damn, I wish it hit me a little more.
Did you guys see the video that I made recreating it?
No. I haven't seen.
So I did a recreation both of that shot, what it would have looked like from the shooter's angle with the equipment he used, and also we recreated the Secret Service return shot on the shooter, like just blew the fucking ballistic head open. But genuinely did a Donald Trump like ballistic head and shot the ear at 100,000 frames per second with ballistic high speed. And showed what it would look like with the 5.56 like nicking through the ear like that. The only thing, it looked way more dramatic than it was because it was ballistic gel, obviously. But with cartilage of the ear like that, I don't think there'd be like, you got to remember the 5.56 is like 0.22 inches. Like it's not big and it's not going to have any expansion if it's going through like a tiny flap of cartilage or a tiny little flap of skin. So, like, honestly, that's not a hard injury to recover from and have, like,
it rubbed him, though.
Oh, the way you're saying it, you make it sound like a 1/4-inch bullet went through his ear. That's not what happened. He was just barely touched by it.
It's hard to say. Like, it really, like, it's, unless I would love to have, like, an actual, like, the surgeon, like, come out, hey, this is exactly where it hit. Here's a diagram of the ear. Here's the path of the bullet. That would be really helpful.
I'll tell you what I told him. Stuck on Band-Aid, brand, because Band-Aid stuck on me. And I think it just rubbed against him. I'm not trying to take his
he was grazed
victim, I'm not trying to lessen what happened to him at all. But like, holy shit, it barely touched him. To me, it speaks more to the evangelical talking points that say the hand of God itself moved Trump's chin to the right a little bit and made him dodge that. He literally dodged it Neo style. Has there ever been a better bullet dodge? Because you see that graphic of like where the shooter was lined up right before Trump did the herky jerky, and like
look at a graph.
It would have like popped him like right, like brain matter on the stage.
Like, everyone gave the guy a hard time for being a bad shot, but he was a moving target.
Yeah, Trump dodges bullets.
Also, you're using a 5.56 with zero magnification. You're using.
I was going to ask, what optic did he have?
It looked like from the shitty resolution photo that we saw, it looked like he had a zero magnification red dot that was mounted too far forward on. Get this, it was a DPMS AR-15 that his dad bought a long time ago.
What does that mean?
Like, it's a shitty brand. You're looking at like 3 MOA. So basically that plus the optic, you're at 150 yards, 130 yards. Your best case scenario is like a 4.5-inch, 5-inch variable on your target.
What is MOA?
MOA is minute of angle. So basically that means 1 inch at 100 yards, 2 inches at 200 yards, that sort of thing. So if you're looking at 3 MOA at 150 yards, I think that's 4.5 MOA, if I'm not mistaken.
It's a way of measuring the accuracy of the gun. It means that it's going to shoot a 3-inch group at that. If it's shooting 3 OMA,
a perfect shooter would get a 3-inch group.
The rifle in a vise. So then you've got to add on the optic and how imprecise that is. If it's even set perfectly, and certainly not set for 100, and then a kid on a hot roof.
Yeah.
To add to what
just
Brandon
been discovered by
I read about the optic, and the article said the same thing Brandon did, which was an unmagnified red dot.
So it's literally just like looking through a piece of glass that has a red dot on it, like no zoom capability whatsoever. So like that's a low budget assassin.
Yeah.
The deep state, they could have done better. They went cheap. The Trump brand never goes cheap.
They sent at me the gayest loser in their arsenal, people. Can you believe it? Bunch of losers. He's out there like, try again, pussies.
Why do you send me your hardest battles? You're my gayest loser.
Son, I'm glad he didn't do that. Like, he didn't show like a picture of the kid and like riff on it. Like, imagine if that was the next.
I would have
look
liked
at this
that.
kid.
No,
look at this fucking loser.
Look at this loser. This is a guy that got no pussy. I know, folks. I know it's embarrassing. No pussy for this. Died with no pussy. Can you imagine?
We call him no pussy cook.
Nope, the no pussy shooter.
I saw him after he'd been shot, is all bloody and stuff.
You?
And then on Police Activity, GOAT of police channels, there's a unedited 28-minute video of one of the cops up on the roof with the body and the rifle and everything. I was trying to get a good look at the rifle, but he never approaches it. He just stands. He's on one side of the body and the rifle's on the other, so you don't get a great look at it.
I'd love to get a screenshot of that at some point, because I was really hoping I was right with that optic being like awkwardly too far forward.
It's on. There's
like presidents always shot with magic bullets, huh? Explain that to me.
It's because they're hiding something. It's because it's not what it appears, as always.
Could it be aliens? Are you saying it's aliens again? Taylor believes in aliens.
Do I? I do. More than anything. More than anything, I believe in them.
All right, I believe in them then.
We know you do. You're all about it's because it's your greatest fear, being molested by an alien.
Hey, so Biden did the 5 or 6 executive actions, most of them being about gun restrictions, gun study. What did he do?
So there was, I think it was 6 executive actions. One of them was, I think 2 of them were pretty much just lip service. It was like, hey, ATF, you make this report every year about firearms trafficking that they already do. So I was really confused by that one. I'm like, okay, cool. Keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a great job. The other one was like, it was an inner city violence intervention kind of thing. They were just going to put like a little bit of funding toward preemptive measures in urban environments and stuff like that. One of them was about the arm brace thing. It was like saying like within 30 days or 60 days, the DOJ is going to make a ruling about the pistol braces. Which I'm like, okay, well, that's cool because like they've already done that like 4 times.
So they haven't. All right. So one, I thought that one was over, and
it was.
We'll see. I don't know. I don't like these. Let's say that he successfully bans arm braces.
Sure.
I don't like it, but I see it as a parallel to like the bump stocks, which I didn't like either. You know,
same. Yeah, that's one of those like no matter what side you're on, like I didn't like that bit at all. We actually just got that overturned. I think the Firearm Policy Coalition just won a lawsuit in federal court about the bump stock ban.
Oh, so you can have them again?
I'm not an attorney. I dropped out of law school, so I have no fucking clue.
Well, you made it further than me. So.
I made it 3 semesters.
I know someone who melted dozens of them.
Maybe for the best.
You know somebody. Somebody wasn't me.
But yeah, I didn't like that they banned bump stocks. I kind of sort of liked mentioning that he banned bump stocks because but I didn't like that he actually did it. And I don't like that he's banning the arm braces. It doesn't impact me. I don't have one. I didn't really desire one, but any ban I
just check. I'm like, do I have anything?
So what else did he do? There's the arm brace study thing.
The arm brace thing, and then there's they're also making a determination about ghost guns, which is basically just 80% that you finish at home or making your own firearm. Even the 3D printing community, stuff like that. Like basically just guns without a serial number, which from the beginning of the country has always been legal to do. They're just trying to, I guess, make a ruling about that, which again, they've already done. Like any 80% firearm, like an 80% ghost gun that gets shipped to you, usually comes with a letter from the ATF that they photocopied. Like, hey, we sent this into the ATF asking if this was okay and legal to do according to the law. And they said yes. And so it's really interesting that he's going back and basically just like, hey, ATF on these two issues, re-roll the dice until we get the answer we want, which is, I don't really like that.
Always been legal, but, and I'm not correcting you, I'm telling the audience, they have to fit all the same rules that other guns do. So you can't make like a short barrel rifle or something like that.
You're 100% right. Yeah. You can't make a machine gun at home and be like, well, I made it myself. You're like, good for you. You're going to jail.
Yeah. But so long as it fits the other rules, if you finish it at home or make it at home, it's fine. So, all right. So that's 4 of them. Maybe you're doing pretty well at this. What else was there? Do you remember?
I may have I'm probably missing one along the way, but the other one was the new ATF director. And I purposely saved this for last because that's an interesting can of worms. David Shipman, I believe, who is like currently a professional anti-gun activist, but he's been at the ATF for like 25 years. Dude's got the most punchable face you could possibly.
What's his name again? I'll show his picture.
David Shipman. And he was one of the ATF agents at Waco and has like a selfie with a rifle in front of a bunch of burning kids. And like, just like the dude is like the most cartoonish villain of the ATF you could possibly have, that he just was appointed, that Biden couldn't even pronounce the name of the organization correctly. He said twice. He's promoting him to the head of the AFT.
Oh, yeah. Twice he called it the AFT.
Yeah.
Not a big deal, but it fits the narrative of the whole senile
right.
It's
I don't think it's the biggest. Well, once is easy to write off, and then as soon as he did it a second time, I'm like, okay, I get it.
Yeah. That one, too. So, as you mentioned, he's an anti-gun guy now in charge of the ATF. And right. I don't like it. I'm pro-gun. If you don't know, I guess you watch the show. I'm a little bluer than the other 2 hosts, but pro-gun. And I'm like, so I don't like this move. I see it as a parallel to the coal guy who they put in charge of the
EPA.
The EPA. Yeah. When the guy was,
who would know polluting best?
He had several active lawsuits against the EPA, and he, like you said, he was a coal producer or coal owner, something like that, and now he's in charge of the environment, and you're just like, oh my God, the fox is guarding the hen house. Well, now
I am a coal man.
So now this
son HW
guy's in charge of the ATF and or AFT, some call it.
Yeah, some
people are saying, yeah.
We're having the FIB look into it.
It's an interesting debacle. It's one of those things where I'm like, yeah, well, you know what? They'll probably tie him up at the Senate for a minute on his confirmation because, as it turns out, while it's not a career-defeating move, taking selfies in front of a bunch of burning children is not a career ender. But it's not good for your career.
Burning children, literally?
At Waco.
It was
Waco.
The Waco debacle, where I think it was like 73 or 78, men, women, children died, like burned to death from the ATF. He took a selfie and they identified, like, in the background, there's like, yeah, that's one of the, like, Uncle Ben style skeletons in the back there. It's really, really kind of fucked up.
Yeah, what a ghoul. I just looked it up because it sounds over the top. It's just a ghoulish picture. He's standing there like he just, like, valiantly won a hard-fought battle, and it's like, no, this is Waco. Like, there weren't, centurions marching out to meet you in the battle. Like, no, there was a massacre.
Yeah, and it's like,
you're a big David Koresh fan, right, Taylor?
Huge, the biggest. I know so many things about him, such as, lots of people died at Waco.
Well, I know you've got that tattoo.
That's supposed to be a secret.
That full back piece you've got.
Well, I'm adding a full chest connection.
Now he's got a good David Koresh. Now he's saying it's a Far Cry tattoo.
Yeah, I'm gonna get that picture of him looking crazy with the whites of his eyes showing above his pupils. Yeah,
that's not great.
Yeah, no, I mean, even if you agree like that those guys were a little crazy, which if you have a religious cult, Hey, fair enough. I see why people would say that. Yeah, that was a pretty big miscalculation, even just from optics on the ATF and FBI's part.
It was scorched earth on it, which
you're going after like one dude for technically just barely a felony.
Yeah, that one clip of the FIB agent up on he's on like the eave of the roof, and through the second floor wall, you see machine gun fire coming through at him, and he just like rolls off the roof. It's like, God, they were not fucking around in there.
Some of them though, like I saw some of the breakdowns afterward, they were like, some of the agents that were killed, I think were like friendly fire. Cause like you had agents that went in, and then you have agents later get to the roof, didn't see it, and they're spraying MP5s through the window of where their buddy just went in. It's like, ooh, fuck, buddy. Like, no.
Yeah, H&K must have had a sale that week, because every one of those fucking feds has an MP5 just fucking going to work in there. Yeah, that was a wild situation. It definitely shaped the way they handle things like that permanently. I think that was terrible optics. And then it wasn't all that long after that, you had the Alien Gonzalez thing, where you had ATF with the gun, with the I think it was an MP5 again, maybe pointed at the child's head, finger off the trigger, I believe, but it's been a while since I've seen the image.
He's in the cabinet, and you're like, got that whole thing going on.
That was Clinton, right? Am I crazy? Or is that Bush?
Yeah, I want to say Clinton.
It's a 90s photo.
This was all during Clinton. This was all like from like
it's Janet Reno. That's that's who was catching all the heat. See, Clinton was so good about that. For whatever reason, I blame Janet Reno for all of this, and not Clinton, who was the president of the United States. Like you don't see that now.
Yeah, but after that was the Ruby Ridge thing. Like it was like back to back to back.
What was Ruby Ridge?
Ruby Ridge was where the guy they had basically entrapped the guy into making an SBS, which is a short barrel shotgun, because they wanted him to inform on like somebody who was part of like this white supremacist biker group or some shit like that in Idaho. And they're like, so they entrapped him. They're like, hey man, could you take this shotgun for me and like cut the barrel? Like, it would be super cool, man. I just appreciate it. And he's like, yeah, sure, whatever. And then he did it. And he's like, you've just committed a felony. You're going to report on these people. And he didn't want to do it. He's like, no, dude, like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And so they went and like surrounded his house and everything. Ended up like, they used an MP5 and like, I don't want to get too graphic or anything, but like they shot a dog. They shot a dog while like the father and son were out hunting. I think Randy Weaver. And then the kid goes crazy because like two agents pop out of the bush and like light up his fucking dog. So he starts firing at the agents. They chew off the kid's arm with an MP5. Like he's like a 7-year-old child, right? And then like chase him back up. And then one of the FBI snipers takes a shot through the door, kills like his pregnant wife. Like it's a whole fucked up situation.
I haven't determined if this is bad yet. Did the 7-year-old resist a little?
Was he asking for it?
Did the cop yell taser?
He may have. But with an MP5, it'd have to be like taser, taser,
taser.
Yeah, that's fucked up. I didn't know all those details about.
God, if I were still making videos, I would make that video where I'm shooting machine guns going taser.
A little less forgiving of that stuff these days. Yeah, we just they've got the video of the. I will say so. There's a lot of sketchy shit on that shooting, but I will say that they did have the videos of and it's a little creepy of the bellhop is helping him carry these multiple carriages full of guns, like just gun cases and everything up to his room. Like you can't see their guns, obviously, but
they're probably used to SHOT Show though. They wouldn't even whatever.
And the rules changed significantly after that about like guns and hotels and everything in Vegas. I mean, obviously, but. That was wild. That was the one shooting that I woke up the next day and I was like, this might be the big one.
Is there a committee you're hoping for if you win?
We're still looking into it right now. Really,
okay.
I'm also going to be so we're getting to that point where we're looking into specific committees and whatnot. But
there's about that. Do you know who Jeff Jackson is? Do you know that name? He's a North Carolina guy who has the job you're running for, but in North Carolina. Yeah, and you might recognize him because he's like a TikTok star. But he's not a joke. It's just the platform he uses to do his little 2-minute videos on what's happening. And it's this he's a Democrat, but he comes across as unbiased to me anyway. And he just speaks really soberly about what's going on, what it's really like to do this job. If you haven't seen it, you might even get some insight from him and perspective.
I'd love to take a look.
But I had a point. He talked about the UFO stuff, which was pretty interesting. And he talked about the huge difference between the representatives when they're on camera and when they're off camera. Off camera, they can be pretty sane and smarter than you'd think. Right. And on camera, they're playing a character. They're actors.
I've noticed that a lot. I've talked to a few members of Congress that, like, you know, are dramatically different, and not necessarily in a bad way, but like dramatically different on camera and when they're doing their job. And then when you talk to them on the phone or something like that, you see the real person actually come out, and it's a very different.
I remember where I was going. He explained the committee assignments, and he's like, well, so I'm a freshman. I'm not going to get the most plum committee assignments, but they look at it. I asked for this, this, or that. And because I had a military background, they thought I would be a good fit for this one here. So I wonder what they'll look at with your background and be like, this guy'd be perfect for this.
Also, kind of crazy. Something I didn't know until fairly recently. I'm learning a lot about how the inner, deeper politics works. Not all of it good. In fact, most of it not. What? But surprise, surprise. But the one of the things is you have to pay for your committee assignments.
I had never heard that before.
Yeah, so like there's a different price associated.
Money
with
that matters, or is it like it's probably for this and $707 for that? You know?
Like $100,000.
What?
So something that like you couldn't afford just on the pay of that job.
So crazy. That's weird, Taylor.
It is the pay
notice some shit. Stop doing that.
How very
wait. What's your level of confidence on this? I've never heard this before.
I think you have to be sponsored for some bit of it. I'm pretty confident. I was just watching a video the other day where it was sitting members of Congress talking about that. And so I think it varies wildly depending on what assignment you're trying to get.
I wonder if they waive it and stuff. So here's the thing that I know. When Kevin McCarthy was going through all those votes to get his speakership, this is back in January, committee assignments were a way that he was winning people over. Like, all right, Brandon, you vote for me over, this silly head, and I'll put you on the Judiciary Committee, which is a good one. Yeah. I wonder if he was able to waive fees. I don't know. That's crazy.
Here we go. I've got one. It's problems with the committee tax in Congress. Less coveted gavels on the B committees, like the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee, come with a price tag of $875,000.
What?
Wow.
Yeah.
So no part of this is just.
And
organic.
you would pay that? Like,
I'm gonna have to. So like I said, I've got a couple meetings with some people that have been doing this for a long time, and we're gonna try to figure out like exactly how the system works and how.
Yeah. And by that, I wasn't saying, would you want to pay that? I was like, the politician pays that personally, or that's like a government collection thing?
I believe so. And I think that's why like there's several people that can contribute to that. And that's
who do they pay it to? Like, who gets that money? Who's the guy
right? Straight to the president.
Nice.
Straight to the big man. To the big guy. Yeah. That's how it works.
All starting to make sense now.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird like money stuff, and obviously like having to learn all the FEC rules to like basically how to be able to finance your campaign but not go to prison. That's been really cool. I don't think I'd do very well in prison. I'm good.
You'd be all right.
Oh yeah, you'd do well. Kyle did great. Gun guys, they're very likable, very charismatic. It'd be good.
That matters.
Yeah. You just have to not shit for 4 weeks, and
it's really important to know how to work a firearm in a place where none of them are allowed.
I like to imagine that they were waiting for me to poop to rape me, but because I was so constipated, like that whole month went by, and they're just like, he's never met us, man. He's this stubborn before. He knows it's coming. He's Kyle
motherfucker. He's just unrapeable.
I'm letting him go. I'm impressed. Never seen anybody hold a shit for a month.
I mean, is part of you? Were you a little insulted? No one tried.
Well, I mean, that guy made that comment. I was so scared of that. I was legitimately that. I'm telling you, it was 2 weeks in or whatever, and I had finally relaxed. I was like, this is nothing. I'm going to sit on this bunk and read fucking books for the next whatever, and 6 weeks or whatever was left. And like, no, who cares? And then like 2 weeks in again, this guy's told somebody over there wants to get with you. Oh, that ruined my day. That
Your day, huh?
I was
You know
scared.
what? The next 30 minutes, I was anxious.
Yes.
for the next remainder of my stay.
But then
I
Reba
was
came on the white TV.
I looked into that.
I bet you've never
thing,
sat
by
on
the
your
way.
bunk and waited for your buddy to go take a shower before you could, have you?
It's not something
Ironically,
you
now
pay.
I'm so
These are-
scared. I
I
want
want
to
to get
shit.
the facts right on this. That these are fundraising goals. Like that 875,000. That's not something you're supposed to pay. You're supposed to get on the phones and raise that for the party.
Right.
That's harder.
That's difficult.
Depends on your network, right? Like,
Depends on what
I'd
big
also-
billionaires you
also-
got funding.
yeah, exactly.
I'd also like to look into what the fundraising rules are for that, because like there's for my race in particular, I think it's like unless it goes to the Victory Fund, which is a whole different thing, but like an actual personal donation caps out at $3,300. So to raise $1.2 million that way is incredibly difficult.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know what is that the limit total that you could donate to any political campaign? What when you're, I always make a joke to girls. What I'll say is like, hey, I know I didn't ask, but I didn't think you'd mind. The maximum campaign donation to Donald Trump is $5,000, and I'd already sent that in, so donated in your name. They flip. They lose their fucking shit when you tell them that. That like. You will lose a girlfriend real quick if you stick to that story for too long.
That's pretty funny though.
It is really, it's worth it.
Yeah. And I bet it would endear them to you a little bit because they're like, wow, this guy can just throw 10 grand around, not caring. Wow. And wait,
no,
and then
I
she's
let
like,
him know.
can I write this off my taxes now? Is that how that works? I don't know.
You actually, so you don't get to write it off at all.
Yeah, political contributions aren't tax deductible.
Oh.
It's not like
Really?
a good cause.
Which I was shocked too. I
Why not?
didn't think so going in either. But yeah, they are. They're not tax deductible.
There's got to be like someone's created a loophole for that, though, right? These are the most powerful and influential people in the world. There's got to be a way to donate politically and have it be tax deductible. Maybe you're donate to your group or some fund or something that in essence is you.
I feel like there is. Like I bet there's some Sierra
foundations.
Foundation, right? That probably has political influence. Sierra
Yeah.
Foundation is an environmental group that people don't know.
Yeah. Okay. What's I see a lot of people up in arms about that Jewish what's the big influence group, the super whatever it's called, the
ADL.
Starts with an A.
APAC.
It's a
APAC,
bunch
is
of
that
letters.
it?
I think it's American Israeli Political Action Conference or Committee.
Mm.
The
I see them getting a lot of flack these days. I usually have. I feel like I can take the temperature of the room and kind of see how a world event might, because it's usually black and white, red and blue. But this time around with this Israeli thing, the left really don't know exactly how to feel about it.
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
a rather divisive issue on the left, and to some extent on the right, but not nearly as much, I don't think. You've got the evangelical Christians are always going to stand with God's chosen people and the Holy Land, et cetera, et cetera. So just done, the far right. So, but on the left, you've got a substantial amount of people who are like rocking that Palestinian flag and talking about, terrorism, basically, like there's some rough customers on the left, and they're really showing their showing what they've meant the whole time. A lot of the BLM, I love when I saw the Chicago BLM Twitter like tweet out the Palestinian flagged out paramotor or whatever with the gun, and like that's great.
Did they?
That was insane. I thought that was a parody. I retweeted that. I thought it was a fucking parody at first. I didn't think it was real.
No,
but they
it's like
absolutely did.
It's like a paramotor outlined with the Palestinian colors like edited onto it and like a gun on top or something, like an AK or something. Yeah, the reason we have these crazy monumental forest fires, one of the contributing factors is that we have this complete fire prevention. So there are never fires until there are. So the undergrowth builds up, all those dead leaves and pine cones and shit, layer after layer of fuel, and then one does spark off, whether it's lightning or a psycho who just starts a fire. People have done that. A lot of those bigger wildfires. I know there was one recently about everyone went to town. Look what global warming did. Turned out it was a guy. It was a crazy guy. He started a fucking fire. It usually is, or lightning or something like that. But yeah, Trump's right sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Or when he's not right. Sometimes, like a little bit of me was like, "Was this idea worth exploring?" You know, when he asked, "Hey, what if we put a disinfectant in the blood to kill COVID?" I'm like, "All right, that sounds." He's just asking the question. Is it a good idea? Is this something? What if we use
demonstrates an ignorance about the science that none of us have? We all go, whoa. Hey there, Tyke. disinfectants in the blood. I think you might. I think baby out with the bathwater in that scenario, right? You know? Well, how about we incinerate the whole?
Everything.
Maybe if we bring the blood to say 1,000 degrees, would that kill COVID?
Yes,
Very
Mr. President,
briefly.
that would kill all the COVID in the blood.
Okay, then this one. He wanted to buy Greenland, right? He's like,
That's
how much
still
does
a
it
good
cost
idea.
to buy Greenland? And I'm like, spitballing here. How much does it cost to buy Greenland? Is that a good purchase? I'm down for some real estate investing.
I'm down to ask some questions at least. It's not like Greenland's on fucking Zillow, so hey, let's at least get some quotes.
Exactly. Now, I
And
think
then-
he threw some sort of temper tantrum and didn't go to like the G7 when they told him it wasn't for sale. Then that part I don't like.
I don't.
Yeah.
You don't tell America something's not for sale.
What he should have said, instead of buying Greenland, he should have offered to sell Puerto Rico. That's the fucking move.
Oh,
swap?
like a trade.
A trade? Yeah.
We already
cash.
have plenty
A little
of
cash
tropical
money.
places to
No, a
go.
little
Like we
cash
already
money.
have Hawaii, and so as far as solidifying good vacation spots, Greenland's better.
I'm sure Greenland cash flows better than Puerto Rico too. So this is the art of the deal. Great deal. Everyone's talking about it.
It's a fantastic deal. Ask anyone, except for the Prime Minister of Greenland. But let's
So what do you do with the people of Greenland then? Do they just become
They're American.
citizens?
they go to Puerto Rico.